And then maybe we would like to also implement certain rule to replace and substitute such data with alternate values like design data or recommended data. Then we have to reconcile such data according to the constraint and the principle and the properties we selected. So we may want to reconcile based on mass and energy, and we may want to apply this constraint on different envelopes. And the result of the reconciliation will be to obtain a first level of dataset able to close the balance around the envelopes we selected. And then also thanks to that reconciliation, we can even infer data we were not able to measure because of lack of instrumentation on the field, or because certain data was not actually possible to measure. And finally, based on this dataset, we may want to build some tracking capabilities in order to track properties like composition or, as we said, ownership. The execution of the data transformation steps around the model generates over time the sequence of industrial datasets together with their matrix. This is what has been defined as the single version of the truth. We prefer to refer to it as the system of record of the company, embedding the accurate description of the properties related to the company assets over time. The last step of the data transformation journey is about shaping. Most consumers will not be able to digest the dataset as it is. So our factory needs to be able to shape and augment the dataset in order to be able to be consumed by different actors. Many scenarios see Sigmafine feeding finance with generated production and consumption data to move ERP stocks, sending yield reconcile data back to scheduling, preparing a compliance report for tax and environmental authorities, and finally, more in general, reshape the dataset to be consumed by advanced analytics and machine learning application layer. In all cases, it is extremely relevant to provide a metric certifying that the level of reliability of the dataset is good enough. Being able to measure the industrial dataset means to be able to certify the reliability of the data delivered to the different consumers. It is also a means to keep our digital asset factory under control. Sigmafine produces a certain set of indicators. Some of them are related to the model, some other are related to the point of measurements and point of balances within the model itself. They are segmenting the performance of the factory across different perspectives. You can see we have redundancy, imbalances, correction, solvability, and so on. We would like to take the opportunity to encourage Sigmafine community to use them more and more. As we'll see, these metrics are the ones you can use to build the trust between the factory and the dataset consumers and within the factories itself. A first example of model matrix is coming from MOL. MOL is an integrated oil and gas corporation. They are tracking and historicizing the Sigmafine generated model matrix into their PI system. In such a way, they can track historically the performance of their industrial dataset factory, and they can assess how modification to the models or improvement in the measurement base can affect the performance of the Sigmafine process. Another example of usage of such indicator is coming from Slovnaft, a large refinery located in Slovakia. Slovnaft is tracking Sigmafine test 1 values. Those are the indicators related to the correction applied to the point of measurement in the model. And by monitoring this correction indicator, they are able to identify suspicious meter, and so even to trigger a maintenance action to the maintenance department. So we have discussed how to manage and measure industrial digital assets, and now we'll go through monetization. Infonomics define monetization according to main categories, indirect and direct. Indirect monetization refers to the internal usage of digital assets in order to drive better business, process, and organizational decision-making, which ultimately drive better economics. This could be the case, for example, of advanced analytics optimizing certain internal processes based on reliable datasets. Instead, direct monetization refers to the exchange of digital assets with external entities or consumers as the base to obtain an economic return or avoid a financial loss. But let's map this concept to the industrial digital asset context. With regards to external monetization, we have several cases where Sigmafine-generated datasets are used in the relationship with third parties. This is done, for example, in compliance, whenever validated datasets are required by tax and environmental authorities. In joint venture, instead, it is required to allocate consumption and production among the different players of the joint venture. So this is the case where ownership tracking is used. Also, custody transfer checks is an area where Sigmafine-generated data is used to provide the background justification to sustain disputes against third parties, mainly suppliers. Instead, on the internal monetization side, we have typical cases involving the use of Sigmafine dataset to improve process operation, reduce consumption and losses, avoid losses of profit, and product contamination. Let's go through some real cases. So let's see a case of external monetization which involves compliance. In the case of compliance, Phillips 66, as many other quoted oil and gas corporations, must comply with SOX. And SOX is a legislation requiring management to take the responsibility to establish internal controls over the data impacting the company economics. This involves inventory data generated by Sigmafine. To cover this aspect, Phillips 66 decided to track the model data quality indicators and to establish an organizational workflow to explain and approve any discrepancy. For example, if this discrepancy is due to a unit upset or to a planned unit startups and shutdown activities. The report is reviewed and approved every month by the finance manager and serves as an evidence in the case of audit to achieve compliance and avoid sanctions. So discussing instead about internal monetization led us to the case of Orpic. Orpic is an oil and gas integrated company located in Oman, and they started their Sigmafine journey in 2015. And they reported their initial figures about uncertainty in the coming data, about the discrepancy between the plan and actual performances, and about the figures related to the full consumption and losses. And after 3 years of usage of Sigmafine, they reported a certain optimization in such refinery indicators because they were able to reduce the uncertainty, and this can sound obvious for a software like Sigmafine, but also where they were able to be more coherent between plan and actual performance, and more important, they were able to reduce the figures about fuel consumption and losses. A second case about internal monetization is again from Slovnaft. In this case, we see this is a point of view more related to the process itself. So they were calculating the conversion factor of the vacuum residue on the residual hydrocracker unit, and this was estimated to be and calculated to be with raw data around 55% more or less. When using Sigmafine over time, they recalculated this conversion factor based on the reconciled data, and they discovered that it was more or less 1% less. So in this case, they realized that probably they were over-evaluating the capability of their process unit, and they are considering to install a correlation meter to gather better measurement around that area. And this is a clear case of Sigmafine having helped a company to avoid a continuous loss of profit, because 1% of conversion calculated based on the market price would mean 1-2 million per year for the refinery. We went through the process of managing, measuring, and monetizing industrial digital assets. In Pimsoft, we believe Sigmafine Hub is the foundation to elevate such process to be a well-controlled industrial dataset factory. And among the different system capabilities added by Sigmafine Hub, I would like to underline the ones I believe are the most impacting. First of all, Sigmafine Hub introduces the capability to augment the knowledge of the system itself. It is possible, therefore, to add specific rules and behaviors to build a shared company data management practice. Second, we learn from our customer that this process is the result of a team effort whether different roles cooperate. So improved collaboration supports the capability to communicate and share data and action among the different members of the team. Also, Sigmafine Hub provides an enhanced workflow management where to configure the data transformation and shaping steps specific to your company. And finally, the auditing capabilities have been enhanced to span both changes to the data and changes to the configuration to be tracked and available for both internal and external audits. I would like to thank you again for your attention and enjoy the rest of the summit.
Thank you very much, Massimo, for this presentation. To everyone attending, I believe we may have had a little bit of a issue with the opening of the summit. I understand that some of you were not live, or we were not streaming when I was doing the opening comments. Therefore, I'm just going to go through this again, and just so everybody's on the same page. So first of all, I'd like to apologize and welcome you again to the 2021 edition of the Sigmafine Summit. We're very pleased to have you. We are starting with Asia Pacific, and we will move on to the Americas and EMEA later in the week, Wednesday and Thursday. And of course, you are free to attend any one of the sessions at any given time, even though the hours may be a little bit challenging. This year, we will continue to build on the theme of transforming data into digital assets. And we will also showcase Sigmafine Studio, which is our next wave of releases pertaining to the Sigmafine product roadmap. This is going to be very interesting and open up a whole new world of capabilities. So if you're a Sigmafine user, we hope you will discover new features and capabilities of Sigmafine that you can put to use immediately. If you are new to Sigmafine, we hope the voice of the users presenting during this year's summit will convey the value of Sigmafine, and your participation will be the beginning of your journey in transforming data into digital assets. Today's presentation comprises of 6 speakers who will talk about different aspects of Sigmafine and will also present customer stories. We will also have a short introduction of 2 new partners, which are in the Asia Pacific region. Our plan is to break for 5 minutes twice during the session, and we use this to basically adjust the schedule for as a buffer in case we run short or long, so everybody can come to the presentations as close as possible to the scheduled time. Any comments, questions you have, please feel free to submit at any time during the comments box. I believe it's on the right page of the broadcast page, on the right side of the broadcast page. And all the presentations you will see today were pre-recorded to avoid any technical issues with internet connections. But the speaker will be available live at the end of each presentation to answer your questions. A few days after the summit, we will post the recordings and presentations of all the sessions on the same website that you logged on today, sigmafine.live, and you will be able to download and replay all these presentations and share them with your colleagues. So for the second time today, the Sigmafine Summit has officially started, so sit back and relax. And most of you, I believe, based on the time we went live, have seen the majority of Massimo's presentation. And if you have any questions or comments, please send them in, and we'll have Massimo come in at the end, answer these questions in our closing remarks. So without further ado, I would like to introduce a customer presentation by Petronas, also known as Malaysian Refining Company, MRCSB. Our speaker is Anis Sohimi. She's a hydrocarbon accounting specialist. She's a recent graduate from the University of Sydney in chemical and biomolecular engineering, and she's now responsible for the overall hydrocarbon movements and refinery mass balance at Petronas. So she will present to you a very nicely integrated strategic approach for the overall movement overall management of oil movements with integration in all aspects of the refining business. So I would like to welcome Anis Sohimi to make her presentation.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anis, and I am the hydrocarbon accounting representative from Petronas, Malaysia. I am very glad to be able to gather here today with all the other professionals in the industry despite we are having to do it virtually. But I do hope that I will be able to share as much as possible on the benefits that Sigmafine has provided to our company. So the title of my presentation today is the role of Sigmafine in improving reliability of our refinery data ecosystem. So for today's agenda, I will be starting with a little bit of introduction of our company, Petronas, and also our refining facility, the Malaysian Refining Company Sdn Bhd MRCSB. After that, I will straight away dive into the main agenda of the presentation by detailing on the problems and solutions, our user experience, and application of Sigmafine in our refinery data architecture. Lastly, I will close off my presentation with the benefits and improvement. So hope everyone gets comfortable and let's get started. So our company, Petroleum Nasional Berhad, or known worldwide as Petronas, is the Malaysian oil and gas company established back in 1974. As of 2021, we are ranked amongst the largest corporations on Fortune Global 500. By the production capacity, we are currently ranked as the number 1 for methanol, number 3 for ethylene glycol, and number 4 for urea in Southeast Asia. And if you are a fan of Formula One, I believe you would know that Petronas is the proud technical partner for the Mercedes-AMG Formula One since 2010, providing superior quality of lubricants and functional fluids which drive towards 7 victories. Currently in Malaysia, we have 3 refining facilities located in Melaka, Johor, and Terengganu with cumulative processing capacity of 727 kilobarrels per day. And this is where we are currently situated. So allow me to introduce our refining facility, the Malaysian Refining Company Sdn Bhd, or MRCSB for short. MRCSB is a wholly owned subsidiary of Petronas which has been operating since 1994, powered by 2 main processing units, PSR1 and PSR2. MRCSB has the capacity to refine 303 kilobarrels of crude and condensate per day and also lube-based oil from the MG3 unit. As of now, we are supplying 60% of domestic demand such as gasoline, diesel, and kerosene. The latest addition that we have in our complex is Diesel Hydrotreater Unit DHT3, which started commission this year specifically to process diesel Euro 5. These units are all interconnected and integrated between each other with shared common facilities such as hydrogen supply, fuel gas, utilities, and tanks. The movements of the hydrocarbon molecules across these units are continuous for 24/7, and the movement also needs to be tracked. So Sigmafine covers the boundary of our refining process starting from first is the delivery of feedstock at jetty. Secondly, in and out movement of crude at tanks. Third, the movement of molecules from processing units into tanks. Next, in and out movement of final product tanks. And lastly, delivery of our products through the 3 modes of distribution, which are vessel, pipeline, and truck. In total, Sigmafine is able to provide reconciliation of 124 tank mass balance with average number of 4,100 to 4,600 tank movements in 1 month. Now, moving on to the function of Sigmafine as a solution in helping our organization to improve our reliability of data ecosystem. So before Sigmafine came into the picture, everything has to be configured manually through Excel spreadsheet. This definitely imposed difficulty when it came to balancing refinery data, as the hydrocarbon accounting team will need to rely on manual data entry and consolidation. And then with manual input of data, the team will also have difficulty in accessing historical data when needed. There was no systematic data architecture or system that was able to capture the data activity, tank inventory, and movements across the refinery units as in a real-time tracking. This will also greatly increase the possibility of error. Besides that, the team would face constraint in adhering to the deadline of our end-of-month account closure, which is on the third day of every month, from having to go through various sources of data. Therefore, this called for a need of a seamless system that can act as a main platform to consolidate and collect all this data and can be given and can be accessed by the hydrocarbon accounting team. And this is where Sigmafine steps in to play its role by compiling and organizing data efficiently to allow simplicity towards its end users in accessing data whenever and wherever. So MRCSB and Sigmafine has a journey of almost 20 years together, with few upgrades that have been made across the years. In 2009, after MG3 was built, upgrading was carried out to incorporate the unit into the existing Sigmafine model. Similarly, upgrades were made in 2011 and 2021 to include the PSR2 post revamp and also the HD3 unit. Next, we will go deeper into where Sigmafine fits in MRCSB data architecture. The hydrocarbon accounting team works closely with the planning and scheduling team to ensure that all of the tools that we are using in the refineries are able to communicate and cascade information between each other seamlessly and efficiently. Here, Sigmafine plays a vital role as it is the only software that is consolidating the actual activity or movement that happened in the refinery. So using the data gathered and reconciled through Sigmafine reports, they become the key indicator or basis for a new cycle of planning and scheduling of future refinery activity, which will eventually ensure optimization in terms of operation and also cost. And as we can see here, there are multiple data sources currently in use in MRCSB, such as we have the time gauging system, the lab data system, the oil accounting system, and also PI. So all of these data are fed to Sigmafine server, which allows single data collection. From here, Sigmafine will act as a mass balance tool to reconcile and generate mass balance report for usage of Sigmafine end user, which in this case is our team, the hydrocarbon accounting team. So by using Sigmafine in terms of our user experience, it can be divided into two categories, which is the daily and also monthly. On daily basis, we are able to produce two main reports, the mass balance and envelope reports. Through these reports, we track hydrocarbon movement across the multiple units in our refinery. Secondly, we are also able to produce water draw reporting using Sigmafine by tracking the volume of water being drawn from our crude delivery. Through this monitoring, we are capable to detect if there is unusual amount of water drawn, which may compromise the quality of our crude that will be used for processing. On monthly basis, we have the Inventory Movement Report, or IMR for short, which consists of monthly reporting of tank inventory to determine the performance of three main units in MRCSB. Lastly, we have the Unit Throughput Report, which is used for financial purposes. This can be further detailed down into the work process adopted by our team from day to day and to ensure accurate reporting. By 8:30 a.m. every day, Sigmafine will complete its data transfers to the server and the daily mass balance report is ready to be generated. The hydrocarbon accounting team then will start to perform daily mass balance to ensure that the tank data is within healthy boundary through validation of data with other sources such as meter reference. Any unusual movement, activity, or volume can directly be detected and analyzed at this stage, hence allowing swift corrective action to be taken. In the end, the mass balance conducted will ensure that each material is well balanced, each plant input and output is correctly acquired, and the yield and loss is in acceptable range. At the end of every month, we will compile the data that has been reconciled on daily basis and produce the monthly and reporting called inventory movement report for submission by the third day of every month. At this point of time, it is safe to say that we can be firm and confident with our figures as we have been consistently monitoring and analyzing them throughout the month. This greatly increased the speed of completion of our reports while ensuring the reliability of the data reported. Our daily mass balance report covers several boundaries. First is the feedstock and import. Secondly, the blend stock and intermediates. And thirdly is the final product. So under these boundaries, there are a wide range of activities recorded by the mass balance report as listed in table here. For example, for the first boundary, we have the feedstock volume going into the process units. And then there is also other activities for other boundaries as well. So that we will be able to see here is that all hydrocarbon movements are captured, recorded, and balanced. And in the end, we can check the actual data recorded against the one that we have planned. We will finish off the end of process of our daily mass balance reconciliation with envelope reports that measure the plant's product yield and loss. In this report, all the inputs and outputs for that day are gathered together for calculation of yield and loss. In this slide, I have the example of one of our sub-report for our end of month account closing. In total, we have 32 sub-reports to be balanced with one main report summarizing the overall finding. For example, in this one, we are balancing the tanks used for kerosene, and the figures that are taken into account are blending components and export of products. These data are all readily available from mass balance reconciliation provided by Sigmafine on daily basis. Hence, you are able to determine the loss incurred by these tanks. And the process is repeated for other components produced by the refinery facility. So for the second last part of my presentation, I would like to demonstrate on how Sigmafine plays vital role in acting as first in line of error detection that occurred in the refinery data ecosystem. So back in July 2021, through our daily data reconciliation, we noticed that the total rate of crude being fed into the processing unit is significantly lower compared to meter reading. This raised the need for further investigation, and unit scheduler was immediately notified on this matter. The first course of mitigation action is that we compare between the net volume and also the gross volume to check for any discrepancy. And it can be clearly seen from this graph here that the gross volume and the net volume greatly deviated from each other when they are supposed to be close to each other if the data is flowing healthily. We then proceeded to cross-check other data sources that was fed into Sigmafine server and eventually identified that the value of basic sediment and water, BSNW, is not reflecting the actual value taken from the latest sample. Through this detection, we are able to mitigate the impact of overstating or understating of volume in tank. For example, if the feed rate is actually higher than what is being monitored, there is a risk of stock out situation where planners and schedulers could not gauge the actual movement of feedstock from tanks. this may lead to a more serious impact, such as processing units have to be shut down because there is no availability of feedstock, and then there will also be no production of product to fulfill the demand of our customers. This will also lead to penalty imposed to our company. So, to conclude my presentation, utilization of Sigmafine has benefited us greatly in several aspects. From the perspective of planning, scheduling, and operations, mitigation of error can be taken care of quickly through early error detection, besides having reliable data for optimization of planning and scheduling activity. In terms of finance, we are capable to produce accurate data that will be converted into monetary for financial reporting. The next benefit is that we are able to systematically track hydrocarbon movement to produce reliable and structured company official reports, while also being able to use the data to comply with audit requirement and also custom declaration. And then lastly, Sigmafine allows for operational performance tracking and optimization, improve feedstock and product inventory management, and also allow us to assess the actual production yield versus the planned yield. So that is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Anis. Nice to see you in person. Thank you for this great presentation.
Thank you.
If we have any questions, Ryan will share them with us now. Ryan, do we have any comments or questions for Anis? Okay, one question here. How does the planning and scheduling team uses Sigmafine data?
Okay, so basically what I have mentioned in my presentation just now is that we, the hydrocarbon team, we are using the Sigmafine data to actually track the actual movement of the hydrocarbon across our plant. So by using that data, we actually feed it back to the planning and also scheduling team in order for them to get information and also to make a decision on the future refinery activity. So actually that's how the planning and scheduling team is using the data that we are taking from by using Sigmafine.
Okay, thank you. Ryan, other questions? Okay, so what are the reasons that push Petronas to update their system in recent years?
So basically in Petronas, we upgrade our Sigmafine system based on our requirements and also needs, meaning that not every time there is new update, we directly update our system because we think that it is best to understand our needs and also requirements. Basically, we as a company we understand more what we are needing through our reports, through our server, through our interface. And then it's also a good thing about Sigmafine is that we are able to communicate directly with our vendor to provide to seek advice and also information to ensure that our system is up to date. And even though we are not using the latest update in of Sigmafine system, but we are using the version that is optimal based on our company needs.
I see. Okay, very good. Thank you. Ryan, any other questions? No, I guess, okay, there are no more questions. Okay, very good. I just had a question, Anis. Just to understand, you had a system or a box in the middle called OAS, Oil Accounting System, and this was connected with Sigmafine, but it was also connected with your billing system. So is it like a customer database that is contained in that system?
OAS, the oil accounting system is like a platform that is used by many. For example, the system is used by us, the hydrocarbon accounting team, and it's also used by another subsidiary of Petronas of what we call as Petco, which deal with the sales of our products. So basically, they can access to that system to check and keep track on how much you are selling, what's the volume, and then from there also during our end of month closing, we can actually refer to that, and that is the value that we are using to put in our end of month closing report, where I have highlighted in my presentation just now. I said that in our report we put in the export of our product. So basically, that's where the data came from. Yeah.
Okay. Does it also handle product quality? Like
Product
certificate of
quality.
analysis? No.
In terms of product quality, we usually we test it, we checked it through our lab data system, and not in the OAS system. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much. Has anybody else? No more questions, Ryan, correct? Very good. So, Agnes, we thank you very much for participating in our summit. This is very important to us, and I think everyone will appreciate your presentation and welcomes your participation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Bennett.
Thank you. Okay, so next topic is now we're going to talk about something new, something we refer to as the Sigmafine Studio. I believe for most of you, it will be the first time that you will hear from the Sigmafine Studio. This is a new functionality layer, if I can call it this way, that will be added to the Sigmafine Hub shortly, and it will be the foundation of advanced analytics capabilities, which will become inherent or embedded into the Sigmafine Hub server eventually. To introduce this to us, we will have two people from Pimsoft, Elena Mola, who is going to give us some examples of what you can do with Sigmafine Studio, and Marco Lanteri, who is going to give us a bit of an introduction as to what is Studio and why we are making this investment. So, Ryan, if you we are ready for Marco and Elena.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. 1 year ago, we presented the Sigmafine Hub, a platform that accompanies customers in their digital transformation journey towards operational and business performance improvement, and that provides a scalable, extensible, and adaptive framework for data analysis. Sigmafine Hub preserves the investment of customers in building models and developing analytics. Along this year, our development team has done a tremendous work on the platform, and today it is our pleasure to talk about the values that the new application Sigmafine Studio can bring to you. Elena will make this even more clear, showing some examples of how your Sigmafine environment can be furtherly enriched through the power of Sigmafine Studio. As you know, the Sigmafine Hub platform is a multi-year development project which is changing the way we will use and consume Sigmafine data. Transforming data into digital assets is not only the Sigmafine Summit title, it is also the objective that is leading this initiative. Two applications have already been released and are available within the Sigmafine Hub. Visualizer, the web frontend for Sigmafine users, and Admin, the administration module of Sigmafine Hub. Many others are in development under the hood. Today, Pimsoft is increasing the Sigmafine Hub portfolio, announcing the new Sigmafine Studio, which will be officially released end of this year. Make sure to stay connected after this presentation and don't miss the product roadmap presentation from our product development team for more insights. Let's recall some of the pillars that are driving the full Sigmafine initiative. First of all, knowledge augmentation, which means deeper insights on the results you get with Sigmafine and better awareness when taking decisions based on this data. Collaboration. Never, like in these years of physical separation, having a collaborative environment has been of paramount importance. Sigmafine Hub is natively designed to facilitate the interaction of people in a full web environment. We want to go even beyond the single organization, and more on this at the end of this presentation. Last but not least, we want to simplify our users' everyday life. So even complex calculations and analysis shall be made transparent, accessible, and easy to use to the end user. This is done for a common objective: bring value for everyone, customers, partners, and Pimsoft. Customers will have an enhanced user experience, better insights with the final objective to achieve qualitative superior results in less time. Partners will be empowered to build more features within the product itself, increasing the value that they can deliver when executing Sigmafine projects. Pimsoft will have a solid base to expand Sigmafine features and capabilities over time. Sigmafine Studio truly enables transforming Sigmafine datasets into digital assets. Through an extract, transform, and load approach, Sigmafine Studio reshapes the Sigmafine dataset, making it accessible in different ways, for example, through analytics, built-in reports, and interactive dashboards. Sigmafine Hub can describe the digital assets in several ways all at once. Not only a graphical model and an asset database, but also tabular views, interactive dashboards, and charts. This capability enables users to flexibly access and consume even complex datasets in the way that suits them best. The ability to create custom analytics with a zero-coding approach and the possibility to consume results directly in a familiar environment such as the visualizer make Sigmafine Studio the ideal application to reshape Sigmafine according to the different business requirements that it is asked to meet. It is a continuation of the Sigmafine long-standing story and of its unique capability of being both multi-industry and multi-purpose. Take the time to visit our recently redesigned website to know more about Sigmafine applications in several different industries. As everything is seamlessly integrated, the end result is a smooth user experience and a product coherence. Not a collection of applications anymore, but one unified environment. We are launching today Sigmafine Studio as a new app, but to say the truth, Studio is really at the core of the Sigmafine Hub initiative, and it is pervasively used to support complex searches through the Visualizer search toolbar, for the creation and execution of quick calculations in the customized asset setting of each user, to a rich tabular and graphical representation of data through dashboards, and interactive reporting. And here is Elena to tell you more.
With this demo, I'm going to show you some situations where the Sigmafine Studio web app really improves the way you look at your Sigmafine dataset. First of all, you can see that the Sigmafine Studio is fully integrating the Sigmafine Hub, and results are accessible by other Sigmafine Hub web apps like Visualizer. So you can go with your daily Sigmafine activities, such as open the display, and select the case and start analyzing the data. It is not new that Sigmafine provides a set of statistical indicators that helps you in analyzing your data for the diagnostic. But then you have to dedicate some time in realizing where the issue is, which data is missing, and most important, how to solve. Thanks to the Sigmafine Studio web app, you have now the power to develop some logic through the usage of the Studio Analytic that support your manual routines during all the process of data validation. Let's consider a very common situation that I'm pretty sure it can sound familiar to you. It may happen that some measurements in your site, for many reasons, return 0 or bad data. Now, imagine how useful it can be to have your analytic that returns the list of these measurements along your model in a sort of interactive summary table, and then make a comparison with their values in the previous case, with no need to spend time in closing the current case, open the previous one, and manually searching for the values you are interested in. Also, it would be incredibly advantageous to have some suggestions on the possible actions to take in order to solve the situation, for example, by adjusting the current value with the previous. And you can easily decide which actions to apply or not. Another common situation happens when you are analyzing your dataset and you notice a node, a tank, or process unit with a huge imbalance. You can start analyzing your data using the Diagnostic Panel inside the Sigmafine Hub. And here you have the overview of all the statistical indicators. You can see that there is already something related to the ethanol receipt area. The meter has a value of test 1 very high. This means that the correction applied by Sigmafine to the measured mass is very high respect to the tolerance that you assign to your meter, as well as you can see the node as a test 3 very high, together with the test 4. These two indicators inform the users that maybe there is a problem in this area. But then with the Sigmafine Studio, you can easily decide not only to identify such imbalance points along your model, but also you can associate some suggestions. So you can have here the list of the imbalanced point that you have in your along your model. In this case, you notice that it's providing you the same information as the diagnostic gave you, but here, in addition, you can associate a suggested action. So maybe, okay, it tells you that the node ethanol here is imbalanced, but it also tells you that probably there is a missing input transfer. And when you analyze the area, you can notice that a transfer is missing from the receive point to the node. Of course, this information can significantly reduce the time you spend on not only identify the problem itself, but also the solution to adopt. In this case, if you click, you can create your missing transfer, putting the source, the destination. You can even add some attributes if you want, or you can just create it. Here it is. The new transfer is now available, also in the model. And now you can run again your case. Now let me show you how the Sigmafine Studio extends and overcomes the way you are used to visualize the Sigmafine dataset. Here you see an interactive dashboard showing the movements that happen at your boundaries in both graphical and tabular view. And depending on your need, you can decide to group them by type so that you can have the detail of all the shipment movements with their source or destination, the material that happened, and the receipt. Or you can even decide to group by material in case you are interested to check all the movements that happen for a specific material. And please notice that the two views are not separate, but they can interact. So by clicking on one material in the graph, the table updates consequently. Or also, you can monitor the unit production yield, both in tabular and graphical view, in such a way that you can investigate not only the production yield per each unit, simply by dragging and dropping the unit column, so that you can see per each unit the material produced in terms of produced amount, quantity, and yield in percentage, but also the overall productions per material in the graph that you can see here, together with the process unit where they came from. For example, you can easily check that the overhead production is done by 3 different process units with their respective quantities. And you can access to the same information also from here by grouping by material and searching for the material you are interested to. Furthermore, you can decide to go more in detail for the single unit and to select your desired unit and then open a more detailed. And if you want to go more in detail with the unit production yield, you can even select the unit you are interested in and access to the same information, but referred to only and filtered only for the unit that you select, so that you can see here in graphical and in tabular view the yield of the crude unit referred to the material produced by the unit, their quantity, and their yield in percentage. Till now, I showed you examples that apply to the balance analysis. But of course, the Sigmafine Studio supports even more advanced calculations. For instance, let's consider a composition tracking analysis. that calculates the material composition of tanks, load and transfers based on their initial composition and the movements that happen during the analysis time frame. Thanks to the Sigmafine Studio, you can create an effective way to visualize and analyze the composition data of an element, for example, this tank, together with the material balance data within the same interactive dashboard. So you can have a complete overview of both the balance and the material composition. In terms of what enters to the tank, the input this tank has to transfer that enters, and the material detail. So at the end, you can access to all this information, and the composition tracking table results are visualized through a pie graph that update according to the selected elements. So you can even access to the composition that enters the tank. For example, this movement is entering to the tank and is made 100% by West Texas sour. While by clicking here on the tank, you can access to the composition tracking results table of the tank. And the pie graph is useful because here any unexpected material will jump to the eye. Also, you can have a complete overview of all the materials that you have stored in your model based on the composition tracking results. You can see the material summary report that shows you in both tabular and graphical way. You can visualize all the material summary that you have with their respective quantity, so the total amount that you have in the model, or also can be very useful to see the details of the materials by tank. The tank 1, for example, is made of 3 materials, the Arab Super Light, the West Texas Sour, West Texas Intermediate, and here, in one click, you can visualize directly their quantity respectively, with no need to select the attribute and expand the table of composition tracking results. Everything is directly reported here in the same Sigmafine Hub environment. And finally, at the end, you can have the detail per each tank of the materials that you have stored. And this is an interactive dashboard. As you can see, by clicking here, it tells you the same information in graphical view. So it automatically updates, giving you the data that you want to see. Back to you, Marco.
It's really amazing what Sigmafine Studio is enabling. Elena showed us analytics that help users not only to root cause the problem, but even propose solutions. Interactive reports that provide insights on the assets and on the overall balance envelope. Dashboards that interpret complex datasets, such as contextualize the results of composition tracking. And everything available at your fingertips without stepping out of the visualizer, so that you can immediately take actions, and that is really awesome. But there is more. I'm pretty sure, whilst looking at the demo, that in your mind you were already thinking about what you could do if Studio were available in your Sigmafine environment right now. Well, you could say, I could create the refinery loss report. I could see all the metal grades of each stockpile all at once. I could compare in one table the LNG production of all my trains. I could put intelligence to pre-validate the reconciliation before Sigmafine users even reach the office. I could, you could really do cool things without stepping out of Sigmafine. We want to leverage the experience and the creativity of each one of you, customers, partners, and Pimsoft consultants, and create a true Sigmafine community. Sigmafine Hub, and especially Sigmafine Studio, will be at the heart of this new Sigmafine vision. Number of analytics developed with Sigmafine Studio will increase over time for sure. So what if we create a way of breaking the boundaries and share the knowledge? Do you see the potential value and return on investment each of you could achieve? This is an idea we would like to develop in the next years, involving all the parties. Come back to us after this presentation. We want to have your opinion, feedback, and suggestions to make this a truly successful journey. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the summit.
Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Elena. For the benefit of everyone in Asia Pacific, Marco and Elena are in Europe, so for them it's kind of early in the morning. So thanks for making the time and waking up early. Ryan, do we have any questions we want to address? Okay, will Studio be provided with some standard Sigmafine reports?
Well, okay, I can take this one. Okay, this has not been defined yet as the product is still under development. So for sure, I mean, we are testing a lot, creating reports. You have seen Elena demoing it. So for sure it will come loaded with something. The detail of this still needs to be better defined in the futures. But I mean, the idea is this one, at least for the most common reports that typically are also provided during Sigmafine projects. So this is what we are expecting.
Okay, very good. Other questions? Okay, you said no coding is required. So how can this happen? Is there a development environment built into Sigmafine Studio?
Well, I can answer to this question. So the Sigmafine Studio includes a web environment in which the analytics and the dashboard, the interactive dashboards can be designed based on the logic that you want to insert. And the way how it works is that you can assembly a predefined logic blocks that already exist in the web environment. So you can choose the logic that you want, this kind of predefined logic blocks, and customize the graphical layout that you want to assign to your dashboard, such as other similar BI tools. So it's very intuitive to use, and you can change the color, the characters, and in general we can say that the Studio Analytic, which is the object that make everything that we saw in the demo possible, comes with a web browser editor for the analytic, for the dashboard, and the report. So you can see everything that we made in the demo before is done thanks to this web environment for the Sigmafine Studio.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Elena. Ryan, what would be our next question? I think a couple have come up as we were. Okay. Can the reports be exported in Excel or text files? So these tables that we saw or summaries, are those exportable?
Yes, so this functionality is not available yet, but it's part of the product functionality roadmap, so it will be available in future.
Okay, very good. Next question, Ryan. Okay, what's the difference between studio dashboards and dashboards that can be created with BI software?
Okay, I will take this one. Well, let's say the scope of studio dashboards are not to replace, so they are not in contrast with BI dashboards that typically, but they addresses different scopes basically. Typically, BI dashboards are created for an enterprise use. So to distribute and aggregate information from multiple parties and distribute among an enterprise. The scope of Sigmafine Studio is to have dashboards that are natively integrated and available within the platform. So you don't need to do any step to publish the data to external systems and then rework. So they are just right away. You can just recall with the click of one button. It's let's say it's a different way of looking at your data set. So before we were thinking of Sigmafine as a graphical model with an asset database behind. We have to now look this is in a different way. So you have a complex data set that you can look from different perspective, which could be again still of course the graphical model, could be a database, but could be also a dashboard, a table, and so on and so forth. So and everything is contextualized at case level. So let's say it's a different way of working.
Does it have some capabilities to analyze data across cases? I think we saw one quick example at the beginning there, but can you do this across multiple cases over a period of 1 month, let's say?
Yes, you can span even different cases. So you can work either in the same case or aggregate also information through different cases. So, okay, I mentioned we would like maybe to do something from loss reporting perspective. This is typically done, a typical report that is done on a monthly basis. So you can even span different cases and aggregate data.
Okay, very good. So I think that's all the questions we have for this presentation. We are running a little bit ahead. Let me check on the time here. It's 21:16, so 21:25. So we're running a little bit, we're like 10 minutes ahead of time. So if you don't mind, everyone, we will take a pause, which will be like a 15-minute pause, unless anyone has some burning questions that they want to submit right now, even to the other speakers. So if you see anything, Ryan, let me know. But if no one has any burning questions, we will take a pause at this point and regroup at 11:30 Asia Pacific time. And the first presentation will be looking like under the hood, if we can say it this way, of what you've just seen now. We'll look at the product roadmap, and you'll be able to see how some of these functionalities and features come together through the roadmap presentation. So if we can, what we can do also for those of you who came in late, I think we have just enough time. We can rerun Massimo's keynote between now and 11:30. So if you want to stay on and see if you missed the beginning, you can see the keynote again, and we'll rejoin online at 11:30 for the product roadmap. So thank you very much, everyone, and I look forward to continue with you in a few minutes.
Hello, everybody. So now Ryan is going to resend again my presentation, and so it is interesting what Marco and Elena showed, because this touches one of the part of my presentation, which is dealing with the transformation of digital asset, with a special regards to the possibility to reshape the digital asset into many forms. So please, Ryan, let's go with the original
So let's
problem.
see the agenda. First, I will go through the definition of what an industrial digital asset is. Then we will see how Sigmafine can manage, measure, and monetize industrial digital asset. And finally, I will introduce the Sigmafine Hub as the digital asset factory. In the context of digital initiatives, Gartner predicts that through 2025, 80% of the organizations seeking to scale digital business will fail because they do not take a modern approach to data and analytics governance. At Pimsoft, we believe that the transformation of streaming data and events into usable datasets is the cornerstone of actionable insights in the process industry and an essential requirement of the digital transformation initiatives. We refer to such datasets as digital assets because they assert economic significance to information. Well, let's first recall the definition of digital asset. A digital asset is anything that is stored digitally, it is uniquely identifiable, and the organization can use it to realize an economic value. The advent of digital assets is resulting in the emergence of a new practice called infonomics, which is the study of the principle governing the evaluation and deployment of digital assets and giving economic significance to information. Infonomics studies the way we can manage, measure information in order to be able to monetize it. Mapping these concepts to the industrial domain, we first have to recognize that we deal with process and manufacturing data, and that any source of information, being a flow meter, a lab analysis, or a bill of material, is affected by an intrinsic error. So the role of Sigmafine is to transform such incoming data into a reliable dataset, suitable to sustain different company processes. But let's define the industrial digital asset factory in terms of its component. First of all, we have the model. The model is the representation of the set of process and business assets we are dealing with and how they are interconnected to each other. Second, we need to define the time rule of our analysis. This can be periodic, from nearly real-time periods to monthly periods, or it can be by event or by batch. Third, we need to define the properties we are dealing with. Those can be physical properties as volume, mass, component, energy, but they may also include business properties like ownership. Then it is very important to assign a degree of belief to the incoming data. So the degree of belief represents the level of confidence on the process data, the level of trust we have on such data. And finally, we need to involve the metrics related to our dataset. The metrics are the one determine how good is the performance of our factory. So in order to process our data, we need to implement and execute a certain set of data operation.
And some of them are quite simple and intuitive, like filtering bad data, validate the data against certain criteria, and then maybe we would like to also implement certain rule to replace and substitute such data with alternate values like design data or recommended data. Then we have to reconcile such data according to the constraint and the principle and the properties we selected. So we may want to reconcile based on mass and energy, and we may want to apply this constraint on different envelopes. And the result of the reconciliation will be to obtain a first level of dataset able to close the balance around the envelopes we selected. And then also thanks to that reconciliation, we can even infer data we were not able to measure because of lack of instrumentation on the field, or because certain data was not actually possible to measure. And finally, based on this dataset, we may want to build some tracking capabilities in order to track properties like composition or, as we said, ownership. The execution of the data transformation steps around the model generates over time the sequence of industrial datasets together with their matrix. This is what has been defined as the single version of the truth. We prefer to refer to it as the system of record of the company, embedding the accurate description of the properties related to the company assets over time. The last step of the data transformation journey is about shaping. Most consumers will not be able to digest the dataset as it is. So our factory needs to be able to shape and augment the dataset in order to be able to be consumed by different actors. Many scenarios see Sigmafine feeding finance with generated production and consumption data to move ERP stocks, sending yield reconciled data back to scheduling, preparing a compliance report for tax and environmental authorities, and finally, more in general, reshape the dataset to be consumed by advanced analytics and machine learning application layer. In all cases, it is extremely relevant to provide a metric certifying that the level of reliability of the dataset is good enough. Being able to measure the industrial dataset means to be able to certify the reliability of the data delivered to the different consumers. It is also a means to keep our digital asset factory under control. Sigmafine produces a certain set of indicators. Some of them are related to the model, some other are related to the point of measurements and point of balances within the model itself. They are segmenting the performance of the factory across different perspectives. You can see we have redundancy, imbalances, correction, solvability, and so on. We would like to take the opportunity to encourage Sigmafine community to use them more and more. As we'll see, these metrics are the ones you can use to build the trust between the factory, the dataset consumers, and within the factories itself. A first example of model matrix is coming from MOL. MOL is an integrated oil and gas corporation. They are tracking and historicizing the Sigmafine generated model matrix into their PI system. In such a way, they can track historically the performance of their industrial dataset factory, and they can assess how modification to the models or improvement in the measurement base can affect the performance of the Sigmafine process. Another example of usage of such indicator is coming from Slovnaft, a large refinery located in Slovakia. Slovnaft is tracking Sigmafine test 1 values. Those are the indicators related to the correction applied to the point of measurement in the model. And by monitoring this correction indicator, they are able to identify suspicious meter, and so even to trigger a maintenance action to the maintenance department. So we have discussed how to manage and measure industrial digital assets, and now we'll go through monetization. Infonomics define monetization according to main categories, indirect and direct. Indirect monetization refers to the internal usage of digital assets in order to drive better
business, process, and organizational decision-making, which ultimately drive better economics. This could be the case, for example, advanced analytics, optimizing certain internal processes based on reliable datasets. Instead, direct monetization refers to the exchange of digital assets with external entities or consumers as the base to obtain an economic return or avoid a financial loss. But let's map this concept to the industrial digital asset context. With regards to external monetization, we have several cases where Sigmafine-generated datasets are used in the relationship with third parties. This is done, for example, in compliance, whenever validated datasets are required by tax and environmental authorities. In joint venture, instead, it is required to allocate consumption and production among the different players of the joint venture. So this is the case where ownership tracking is used. Also, custody transfer checks is an area where Sigmafine-generated data is used to provide the background justification to sustain disputes against third parties, mainly suppliers. Instead, on the internal monetization side, we have typical cases involving the use of Sigmafine dataset to improve process operation, reduce consumption and losses, avoid losses of profit, and product contamination. Let's go through some real cases. So let's see a case of external monetization which involves compliance. In the case of compliance, Phillips 66, as many other quoted oil and gas corporations, must comply with SOX. And SOX is a legislation requiring management to take the responsibility to establish internal controls over the data impacting the company economics. This involves inventory data generated by Sigmafine. To cover this aspect, Phillips 66 decided to track the model data quality indicators and to establish an organizational workflow to explain and approve any discrepancy. For example, if this discrepancy is due to a unit upset or to a planned unit startups and shutdown activities. The report is reviewed and approved every month by the finance manager and serves as an evidence in the case of audit to achieve compliance and avoid sanctions. So discussing instead about internal monetization led us to the case of Orpic. Orpic is an oil and gas integrated company located in Oman, and they started their Sigmafine journey in 2015. And they reported their initial figures about uncertainty in the coming data, about the discrepancy between the plan and actual performances, and about the figures related to the full consumption and losses. And after 3 years of usage of Sigmafine, they reported a certain optimization in such refinery indicators because they were able to reduce the uncertainty, and this can sound obvious for a software like Sigmafine, but also where they were able to be more coherent between plan and actual performance, and more important, they were able to reduce the figures about fuel consumption and losses. A second case about internal monetization is again from Slovnaft. In this case, we see this is a point of view more related to the process itself. So they were calculating the conversion factor of the vacuum residue on the residual hydrocracker unit, and this was estimated to be and calculated to be with raw data around 55% more or less. When using Sigmafine over time, they recalculated this conversion factor based on the reconciled data, and they discovered that it was more or less 1% less. So in this case, they realized that probably they were over-evaluating the capability of their process unit, and they are considering to install a correlation meter to gather better measurement around that area. And this is a clear case of Sigmafine having helped a company to avoid a continuous loss of profit, because 1% of conversion calculated based on the market price would mean 1-2 million per year for the refinery. We went through the process of managing, measuring, and monetizing industrial digital assets. In Pimsoft, we believe Sigmafine Hub is the foundation to elevate such process to be a well-controlled industrial dataset factory. And among the different system capabilities added by Sigmafine Hub, I would like to underline the ones I believe are the most impacting. First of all, Sigmafine Hub introduces the capability to augment the knowledge of the system itself. It is possible, therefore, to add specific rules and behaviors to build a shared company data management practice. Second, we learn from our customer that this process is the result of a team effort, where different roles cooperate. So improved collaboration supports the capability to communicate and share data and action among the different members of the team. Also, Sigmafine Hub provides an enhanced workflow management where to configure the data transformation and shaping steps specific to your company. And finally, the auditing capabilities have been enhanced to span both changes to the data and changes to the configuration to be tracked and available for both internal and external audits. I would like to thank you again for your attention and enjoy the rest of the summit.
Okay, everyone. So I guess we caught up on our schedule and we repaired a little bit of the missed presentation by Massimo at the beginning. So now we are ready to jump into the product development roadmap presentation. This presentation is made by Massimo Apra, who will do the part of the presentation dealing with the existing Sigmafine server 4.x, what's going to happen with these versions in the coming weeks and months and years. And there's also going to be a segment on the Sigmafine Hub Studio, detailing the Sigmafine Hub roadmap in more details for you. However, the presentation was prepared by David, but David fell sick last week and could not record his presentation. So we asked a colleague to record it on his behalf. So let's hear this, and you will see in the first part the relationship with what we just presented about the studio. You will see, like I said, under the hood, how things are organized inside the new Sigmafine Hub studio.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining the Engineering Roadmap presentation. This is a great opportunity to share with you the current status and the future of the SF Hub initiative. This is how we intend to support the transition from data to actionable insights that can assert strategic and economic significance to streaming data and events. Today, we want to share with you the investments we have made in the products and the journey that we are pursuing to provide a new great experience with Sigmafine. The focal point of this presentation is the Sigmafine Hub. We'll go through the current release and we'll see how it is evolving into a platform supporting digital transition. Although the primary goals are to augment the value and scope data, as well as to increase productivity and usability, we also keep in strong consideration all the investments made. That's why SF Hub helps in transforming data into digital assets, remaining fully compatible with your existing systems, and preserves everything that has been developed using the current technology. We have built things to help make your job easier because we know your job is time-consuming and centered around critical operations on the assets in the plant. SF Hub is the initiative launched by Pimsoft years ago with the aim of designing and planning the development of Sigmafine by addressing the technological evolution and digital transformation, all while maintaining total compatibility with current technology. During Q3 of this year, the first version of Sigmafine Hub was released, and the beta testing program was completed. The first release consists of SF Hub Application Server, the component that enables access to the current Sigmafine via web browser-based applications. The two main web apps, Visualizer and Admin, together with the Login web app. In parallel, the automatic display conversion service from process book format to Sigmafine Hub format has been activated. But development continued, and by the end of 2021, we expect to release Studio, one of the most significant initiatives of the SF Hub program, together with the release of a new version of Visualizer that includes support for the new features enabled by Studio. Studio will be released with two web apps, Analytic and Dashboard Report. With Studio, SF Hub is now ready to support the digital transformation by delivering extended Sigmafine case, the foundation of the digital assets factory, and unleashing fully new operating modes. Building the digital assets factory required to extend the definition of the current Sigmafine case. Here you see the new SF Hub extended case. SF Hub extended case maintains the current case dataset formed by the elements and their data by enriching it both at the case and element level with insights. The extended case is also extended with a full audit that tracks all actions, such as changes, so now you know exactly how data contained in the case was created, a relevant feature for compliance scopes. With SF Hub, the case is also monitored even when the activities are completed, and any operations that affect the consistency of the data are automatically detected and made available. In today's world, users transform data into insights. They have to go through the entire process for understanding the context. This is a time-consuming activity and requires expertise and knowledge. With SF Hub, it is now possible to convert data into valuable insights that are made available to users who can then focus on corrective actions, saving time and standardizing processes. As we see in the example, the imbalance, the data, is now integrated by the cause, the lack of an input transfer. But the digital asset will also allow the creation of a new class of insights, the actionable insights. Similarly to what has been seen above, users are today responsible for taking corrective actions, and again, this is time-consuming and requires knowledge and expertise. But it is now possible to convert data into actionable insights. That's not only information, but ready to execute actions, leaving the user the validation step. As we see in the example, ready to execute actions are proposed together with insights, the reason, and the user has to validate and let the system take care of their execution. SF Hub integrates Sigmafine, enabling new features and new applications, and as we see in the slide, it is compatible with the latest versions of Sigmafine. Therefore, SF Hub can be adopted by anyone running a version 4.6.5 or higher, simply by installing the new SF Hub product. SF Hub is not invasive. Everything development on the current system is preserved and continues to work. SF Hub brings further major improvements that elevate data usability by transforming current application islands into an asset-centric environment that enables a powerful new way of working with Sigmafine. Let's take a look at this first video in which we want to show you how different data visualizations can now work together in a coordinated and integrated way thanks to the interoperability offered by SF Hub. We want to demonstrate the interoperability of Sigmafine Hub applications, which is their ability to use the same features available from the visualizer display, even using a different data rendering mechanism, which in our case is a report. Here you can see a display which also has a report that I have activated from the command bar of the visualizer. The report shows the meters test 1 performance indicator, providing a graphical and tabular view of our information. allowing us to interact with the display. The report gives us standard filtering options on the meter template, as well as the possibility to organize our data into multiple pages. Using only the report, we have all the full options, such as navigating on the display elements, viewing information contained in their attributes, and even more, we can adjust attribute values through the attribute panel. The Sigmafine case runner is also available to run the reconciliation. As you can see, as a result of changes on the Sigmafine case, the report data is not valid. The notification message is reminding me that I must refresh the data. In future releases, a setting will be made available to allow automatic data updating. To wrap things up, we can say that with Sigmafine Hub, we have the advantage of being able to work using our preferred approach without losing the functions that are available on the system, as well as exploiting the interoperability between the applications themselves. But how easy is it to use the new applications? Let's see in this second video. The scope of this video is to demonstrate how easy it is to modify a report or a dashboard, taking advantage of the integration between the report and the report editor, allowing us to make the desired changes and immediately evaluate the results. By opening a report from the visualizer, we can activate the report editor to make graphical changes. The report editor opens, and then we can modify the report by adding a new content that is a data grid, and then assign a data source from which to pull the data. Configure an action on the meter column that allows to locate the element on the display, and then add a relation between the chart and the data grid in order to enable the lookup. The last change is to add an image of the company and then save the report. Once the report changes are saved, we can open it again from the visualizer and see the results of the changes made. We can look up between the two visuals as working, and the meter localization on display is working as expected. We have just seen how the new web apps provide an incredible new experience, allowing users to work with Sigmafine by freely choosing the preferred mode: display on, dashboard, report only, or integrated display and dashboard report. But not only that, we also have seen two very important aspects. Dashboards and reports are for everyone, do not require special skills, and are natively integrated into the SF Hub platform. But perhaps most important of all, we've seen the particular feature that sets SF Hub dashboard report apart from other reporting tools. SF Hub dashboard and reports are live and interact automatically with data changes, becoming a new mode to work with the system. In summary, SF Hub dashboards and reports do not replace the other reporting tools, but complement them by offering users a different way of interacting with Sigmafine. Lastly, we would like to show you how easy it is to extract, transform, and view your Sigmafine data, creating from scratch an analytic and a dashboard. We would now like to demonstrate how easy and quick it is to create an SF Hub analytic and report to show the data pull out by the analytic. In this example, we will collect and totalize the inventory mass, grouped by material, to be shown in the report. As a first step, we have to create the analytic, and using the SF code block editor, we will create the logic to carry out the required data collection. The first one is the main, and then a couple of set code blocks, where the first is a dictionary where we store the material quantities, and the second one is configured to load our dictionary with the reconciled mass. We save the analytic, assigning a name that is total mass. We now create a report to show the data collected by our analytic. A data grid is created from the Visuals menu and a data source is assigned selecting the analytic that we have just created. A chart is also created to show a graphical representation of the material stocks using the same data source assigned to the data grid. We assign the donut graphical aspect to the chart, and then we configure the necessary parameters to populate the chart. For added readability, we enable the tooltip and then the legend we would like to make visible on the right side of the chart. Finally, we create a relation between the data grid and the chart using the material in order to set up an animation when the users click on a material code. As a final step, we have to save the report by assigning a name. In order to make our report available in the Visualizer application, we need to configure the new report in our display settings. As you can see, the report is now available in the Visualizer command bar, and we can open it to see our material stock. So far it looks good, but what's next? Let's look 1 year ahead and see the next evolution of the SF Hub platform. End of next year, we expect to extend Visualizer web app with authoring capabilities and to release one new major feature, Studio Workflow. The introduction of authoring will allow to create and modify displays in a synchronized way with the database, allowing users to discontinue ProcessBook, the current authoring tool. Notice or remember discounting ProcessBook is not a requirement but an option. The introduction of authoring will also require the deployment of a first version of a new service, SF Hub Server. The service will master and coordinate access to authoring resources and to the database. But there is more. By the end of 2022, early 2023, the release of a new Studio component, the Workflow, is also planned. Workflow introduces a new way to use and work with Sigmafine, moving from an application-centric to a process-centric approach, transforming Sigmafine from a set of independent applications to a documented, coordinated, and audited bus of applications and services. The process-oriented approach not only will allow to focus on the sequence of steps, actions that are necessary, but also, and above all, to orchestrate, execute, and control the set of activities that are part of the whole elaboration process. Completed the first step of development and the release of the new Sigmafine features and functionalities. On the one hand, we foresee a continuous improvement activity of the release components, and on the other hand, an infrastructural expansion is foreseen. However, we must consider that we live in technological contexts characterized by strong and fast evolutions and variations, for which today the roadmap addresses the two main development areas: support for distributed architectures and integration. Review in summary the set of infrastructural components and applications that are part of the roadmap, highlighting the components available starting from 2021. SF Hub is ready to help and simplify your work, in a nutshell, to provide you with a new Sigmafine experience. Let's now move on to the second part of the presentation, dedicated to the Sigmafine server component. Let me introduce Massimo Pra, who will continue the presentation.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Massimo Pra, and I am the Sigmafine technical leader at Pimsoft. Today, I will illustrate our Sigmafine roadmap, and we will start from Sigmafine 4.7. We will take a look to the medium-term Sigmafine server roadmap. It is important to underline that Sigmafine server is still the frame on which Sigmafine Hub is founded. Therefore, all Sigmafine plugins play an important role in feeding Sigmafine Hub with data calculated from data references as well as by the analysis rules. In Q1 of 2021 has been released the latest version of Sigmafine that basically is a technological alignment with other software and Microsoft as well. But 2021 represents also the end of line of Sigmafine 4.6 as we know today. Sigmafine server will become part of the Sigmafine Hub, so all the plugins will continue to be supported and enhanced to fit the requirements as well as the needed technical alignment. On Q3 of 2021, some patches have been released for Sigmafine 4.7, R2 and Service Pack 2. That several patches are as much as possible applied to the most recent releases in order to guarantee an acceptable continuity. Sigmafine 4.7 R2 subscription edition includes the same features and functionalities of Sigmafine 4.7 R2, except that the subscription edition is regulated by different kind of license agreement. Here are some details about the patch that have been released for Sigmafine 4.7 Service Pack 2. Basically, we release two patches for the Sigmafine server that basically fix some bugs on the analysis rule and also in the Sigmafine Sigmafine utilities data reference. There is also a patch for the Sigmafine Excel add-in just to improve the registration of some component. And at the end, we have a fix in the Sigmafine integration framework. Regarding the patch released for Sigmafine 4.7 R2, we have also in that case a patch for Sigmafine server. Also in that case regarding the data reference and a fix for the Sigmafine data loader. Also, we have a patch for Sigmafine Excel add-in. Also, basically, is the same patch that we applied for the Service Pack 2. Again, we have a patch for patch 2 for Sigmafine integration framework, as well as a patch 1 for the Sigmafine SQL Access server. Okay, in this slide we can see an overview of the Sigmafine versions currently supported. As you can see, they span from 4.6 R2 until 4.7 R2. Each one is basically aligned to a well-defined version of the underlying Microsoft and other stuff platform. So we start from Windows Server 2012 and PIF Server 2015 until the latest version that is aligned with the Windows Server 2019 and PIF Server 2018 Service Pack. But please note that the Sigmafine 4.7 R2 has been built and certified to work with PIF Server 2018 Service Pack 3. Then you have to pay attention at the icon connectors that are no longer supported by this version of the PI. Anyway, Sigmafine 4.7 R2 works also with the early version of PI server, and in case of need, you can continue to support the COM connector. Let us see in detail now how in future the different Sigmafine server versions will be supported by Pimsoft. Starting from the first row of the table, we can see that Sigmafine 4.6 R2 until R4 version, they will enter in maintenance starting from the next year for different reasons. First of all, for security reasons, because they are founded on all versions of Windows Server and of the .NET framework. And second, because they are now compatible with Sigmafine Hub. Regarding Sigmafine Server 4.6 R5, it is compatible with Sigmafine Hub by installing a dedicated patch. But we believe that starting from 2023, also this version will be obsolete. Sigmafine Server 4.7 and 4.7 R2 will continue their life since these are the reference version for Sigmafine Hub, and they are significantly aligned with the latest security practice. This table summarize instead how Sigmafine client version will be supported. Here the situation is completely different since influenced by the retirement of bioprocess book as well as by the adoption of Sigmafine Hub. Starting from the Sigmafine modeler for bioprocess book, it is still supported in 2021, but it will enter in maintenance starting from 2022, and in 2024 the component will be retired since process book is also retired by others. The same apply also from Sigmafine Advanced Diagnostic for Process book for the same reasons, basically. Regarding Sigmafine data loader and the data importer, they are supported until the end of 2022. After that, they will enter in maintenance. Consider that starting from 2023, the loading data feature will be integrated in Sigmafine Hub.
Okay, thank you, Massimo, for this presentation and for joining the summit. I know it's early for you right now, so on behalf of everyone, thank you for getting up early. Ryan, do we have any questions on the roadmap presentation? Yes, here we go. Does Sigmafine Hub provide the tools to maintain the display as well as the model configuration?
Okay. In this moment, no. Means that the current version Sigmafine Hub that will be released has been released, and also the incoming version still need to have process book available to maintain the display graphics. But in our roadmap, the authoring tool, the authoring tool is of Sigmafine Hub is in our roadmap, and by the end of 2022, starting on 2023, the model maintenance as well as the graphics will be included in Sigmafine Hub. That means that we can abandon by process book. So for 1 year and a half, a process book is still needed, only to maintain the display.
Okay. Excellent. Any Ryan, what's the next question, please? Okay, my company is increasing its focus on applications auditability with the objective to improve our internal process and procedures. The question is, how much Sigmafine can fit that requirement?
Yeah. With Sigmafine Hub, we have a big advantage now. That each operation that is performed on Sigmafine through the Sigmafine Hub is tracked. That means that each operation is any action that is performed on the Sigmafine case is tracked in terms of adjustment, case generation, transfer creation, etc. So everything is changed, and Sigmafine Hub will make available this set of information that is the foundation for the auditability of a good system. Okay, so I think that is a new interesting feature.
Okay, thank you. Next question. My company wants to track accounting operations like number of adjustments, duration of reconciliation steps, etc. Will this be possible with Sigmafine Hub?
Yeah, exactly. Is the continuation of my previous answer. So basically, we have a new set of information that provide the basis for the auditability. So in this set of information, we know when the user started to work on a case, how many times the case runner has been executed, the number of adjustments that has been made, etc. So the answer is yes, we can track everything, number of adjustments. Also, we can get some KPI from this information in order to monitor the performance of the system.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Our next question. Where is the model graphics stored? Where are the model graphics stored in Sigmafine Hub?
Yes, okay. Sigmafine graphics is stored in Sigmafine Hub database. That is a different approach from the classic Sigmafine that you are using now. Now Sigmafine works on PDI files that you open by process book. In Sigmafine Hub, the PDI files are converted in a graphic stream, let me to call it, that is recorded in the Sigmafine Hub database. This allows us to enable Sigmafine Hub to manage the display versioning also. That means that we have the ability to maintain different versions of the display according the change that you made on the model.
I see. Okay. Next question, Ryan. Okay. Can we keep graphics and model aligned? I guess that's kind of what you just answered, correct?
Yes. Yes. Basically, yes. But this is a big advantage, really, because the companies needs to maintain the consistency between the model and the display. In particular, when you are updating your plans and all, because you are adding a unit, you are adding a new tank. Okay, the big problem is to be able to have a display that is aligned. Okay, with your model representation. This is allowed now with using Sigmafine Hub, because the display, the graphics is on the Sigmafine Hub database.
Okay, excellent. I think that's our last question. So Massimo, thank you very much for, again, getting up early and being with us. We thank you for the
was my
making this
pleasure.
presentation. Okay,
yeah.
Very good. Have a good coffee now. So, okay, next presentation. Our next presentation is a presentation we've had at every summit. Is a presentation by OSI Soft. Pimsoft is a 25 plus years partner of OSI Soft, and as always, for our Sigmafine users, we are bringing someone from OSI Soft, now AVEVA, okay, to just give you an update on the current state of the technology, and also to emphasize the fact that we are continuing to work together in a very aligned way whenever it's possible technically. One example where it wasn't possible, I guess, is PiVision, which we explained last year, that Sigmafine displays are not going to be supported short term by PiVision, but this is why we have developed Sigmafine Hub. But eventually, the roadmaps will probably converge, and Sigmafine displays will be a supported document type for PiVision. So for today, we have Natawan Hampa Dung Dama, who is a pre-sales engineer with OSI Soft, now AVEVA in Singapore, and she will give us an overview of the Pi system and the new tagline that AVEVA has brought, which is data infrastructure for performance intelligence.
Hello, everyone. My name is Natwan, a pre-sale engineer from AVEVA. First of all, I would like to thank Pimsoft for letting me speak today in this Sigmafine virtual summit. Hello, everyone. My name is Natwan, a pre-sale engineer from AVEVA. First of all, I would like to thank Pimsoft for letting me speak today in this Sigmafine virtual summit.
Apologies, we're having some technical
In
difficulties.
this session, I will talk about my company and then get into the main topic, which is Pi system as a data infrastructure and how it could help you to achieve performance intelligence in your organization. And lastly, I will touch on how Pi system and Sigmafine work together. Let's get started. Starting from April of this year, 2021, OSI Soft, the maker of the Pi system, has become a part of AVEVA. By bringing two world-class software experts together, we are able to unify our portfolio, which cover both engineering and operation domains. And with that, we are able to enable our customer to have a better data from end to end, and to have a better solutions that solve their day-to-day issues. And lastly, to have a better results. For example, a better production efficiency and asset reliability. OSI Soft Pi system, which is the big player in operations data management, together with AVEVA Performance Solution, we will help you to achieve performance intelligence, which is the ability to stay on top of the challenges and achieve your business goals. Here you can see the scope and depth of our R&D investment. With 10 R&D hubs and 20 project centers and more than 2,000 people employed in driving innovation across the company. Each year, we invest of over 16% of our
My apologies. We're having problems with the video playing for some reason. It was working earlier.
Here you can see the scope and depth of our R&D investment. With 10 R&D hubs and 20 project centers and more than 2,000 people employed in driving innovation across the company. Each year, we invest of over 16% of our revenues in the business in helping to drive innovation forward to stay ahead of the curve for your business. And overall, we have over 6,500 employees and also over 4,500 partners who form our truly global ecosystem. And we are ready to support you and your journey to the performance intelligence. Now we are at the main topic of this talk. Let's dive deeper and learn about Pi system as a data infrastructure. We know that real-time operational data is important to you and it is the lifeblood of your business. We are seeing the explosion of data volume, varieties, and velocity. For example, we are now seeing data coming from more sensors, even on a moving vehicle and so on. And this is due to the lower cost of the sensor. And that means you have a lot more data to take care and to make use of. And I believe you are seeing this happening as well. According to the study, harnessing this operation data in real time is the key to unlock the operations insights and efficiency. You may have heard this line before. It says, you cannot improve what you don't know. And this scenario applies very well here. If you don't have the visibility into your operations, you will not be able to improve it. So now please follow along. So what if you could eliminate the data silos and have a better visibility into your operations? And what if you could enhance the data with context so that everyone can easily understand the data and how to use them? And what if you could find an easy way to visualize the data without having to rely on anyone? And lastly, what if you could share your data with the trusted colleagues or partner? To explain further, a data infrastructure acts as an information highway that parallels the physical infrastructure. It carries signals from machines, sensors, and external data sources to individual users, systems, or centralized diagnostic centers for common visualization and comparative analysis. It also ensures that people have the information they need to make decisions no matter where they are, what device they use, or what role they play. What you see here on this slide is the Pi system working as a data infrastructure, bringing data from data sources to anyone and any application that needs the data. We have been doing this for over 40 years, helping our customer connecting sensor-based data, system, and people together, resulting in the real-time, actionable insights that empower companies to optimize and transform their businesses. Now let's go deeper into more details. People in the OT side would know that managing the operations data is complex. Our customers often have to deal with multiple systems from various data sources, and not everyone has direct access to the data that they need. So this is where Pi system come in. Pi system help connect the people to the data that they need. We make it easy to connect the people to their data. Simply put, we collect, store, enhance and deliver the data. However, what made us special is that we break down the data silos because we can connect to virtually any data sources. We follow security best practices to keep the operation safe, and as a proof, we have our presence in nuclear power plants because we are well trusted by our customer. And we have easy-to-use tools that encourage self-services and collaborations, which eventually can get the whole team speaking one version of truth. And lastly, we'll help our customer to deliver the data to wherever it is needed, which could be external partners or third-party system. Now let me explain further about our technology. Our technologies can be divided into 3 layers. First, data collection. Second, data storage and enhancement. And lastly, the delivery and visualization. In the first layer, we have data collection tools. One of the main strengths of the Pi system is that it can connect to any source of data out there. We built our data collection software to natively read from over 200 industrial automation standards and systems. These are out-of-the-box tools, meaning it does not require programming knowledge to use our products. And we are making sure it stays that way with the continual releases to ensure increased reliability and security. The second layer is for storing, contextualizing, and enhancing data. Our proprietary database is designed to be optimized for time-space data, and we have many enhancement capabilities that add values to the raw data, such as analytics, event tracking, and notification. In this middle layer, we called it Pi Server. It is the single source of truth for our users. Now let's dive deep into key functionalities. First off, we have Pi Data Archive, store millions of data streams for years or even decades. Maintain the full original fidelity of your variable data, down to the fractions of a second. It can also store future timestamp data, allowing you to compare real-time data with the result of the predictive analytics that you may have. Pi Server keeps your valuable data online for immediate real-time retrieval and visualization whenever you need it. Next up, we have Asset Framework. Asset Framework, or AF in short, lets you add context to raw data streams, perform calculation, event tracking, as well as sending notification. The following videos will help explaining the key features within the Asset Framework.
Asset Framework, or AF, has been a staple of the Pi system since 2010. But what exactly is Asset Framework, and what can we achieve with it? At its core, Asset Framework provides a way to organize your assets. Assets are generally thought of as pieces of equipment, like a turbine or meter. But they can also be more abstract, like an individual building, an entire power plant, or a city where you maintain multiple facilities. Asset Framework gives you the ability to logically map out your technical and business operations and doesn't restrict you to one map. With multiple views, AF provides an intuitive way for a maintenance engineer to find the boiler that's overheated or a plant manager to see all the assets he's responsible for. Digging deeper into each asset, we see how Asset Framework provides context to your data. AF helps you collect all the information associated with each asset, so all of your sensor data from your traditional Pi points is readily available, alongside non-real-time metadata. Items like last service time, equipment model, or manufacturer can be vital to keeping your assets healthy. It's also easy to create tables with your asset metadata. And AF can import and link with tables you already maintain to ensure all asset metadata is kept up to date. Grouping all asset data together creates a holistic view of your Pi system, while eliminating issues with finding your data through esoteric tag naming conventions. Okay, we organize our assets. What else can we do? Arguably the most powerful feature of Asset Framework is the ability to create templates. Making a cookie-cutter model for repeatable assets makes it incredibly easy to scale. Scaling is essential while your company is adding equipment like a new turbine at a plant, creating another production line, or adding an entirely new site, as you need to easily standardize your operations. Templates will streamline the build-out of your existing or new systems, and as you get more advanced with template design, you'll be able to create layouts that can apply to several types of equipment, or even model out your entire process from start to finish. Once you've organized your assets in an intuitive way, it's time to get more out of your Pi points. Explore and manipulate your data with our Asset Analytics engine built into AF. Configure predictive models to set targets for your processes, write equations to increase your understanding, or compare roll-up analyses to investigate which equipment or site is succeeding more than the rest. Leverage your metadata to see trends you may not have had insight into before. The possibilities are endless and configuration is straightforward. Yet another addition to Asset Framework's suite of features is the ability to capture events that happen throughout your operations and notify your personnel when necessary. Event frames allow you to track individual shifts, batches, or process excursions, while notifications can alert an engineer prior to a failure or be used to send out a summary report on a scheduled basis. Tracking events is crucial to optimizing your process and will help to identify areas to improve your production. Notifications make sure you don't need to worry about your operations, since Pi will be able to communicate any problems to you and your team the second things are out of place. With Asset Framework, you're gearing up for the full extent of the Pi system. Many of our visualization and data shaping tools leverage Asset Framework to give you better intuition about your data. Pi Vision, Pi Data Link, Pi Process Book, and our Pi integrators rely on AF to provide you with a simple and intuitive way to interact with your processes. Live troubleshooting, writing repeatable reports, or sifting through huge amounts of data becomes much simpler with Asset Framework as your backbone. Additionally, AF provides a whole new way for you as developers to interact with Pi. We encourage you to leverage the AF SDK to build applications that fit your needs. Asset Framework organizes your data and metadata, helps you scale, analyze, and track your processes, and provides you with an intuitive window into your operations. Asset Framework is the key to unlocking the full value of your Pi system.
I believe now you have seen the main capability of the Pi server and especially the Pi Asset Framework. Every of our customers has access to all of these features within the Pi server without having to pay more. We don't sell these capabilities separately, and therefore with just one purchase, you can start working with them right away. For the third layer, it is about delivering data to users. We have out-of-the-box tools that are easy to use. You don't need to know any programming skill for any of these tools. You have seen a sneak peek in the video just now, but let's talk a little bit more about them. First, we have Pi Vision, a web-based application that allows users to build dashboards and view it from any devices. With web access, a field operator can see real-time updates even when they work outside of the business network. Also, Pi Vision is very easy to use that you don't even need to see the manual to start using it. As for Pi Data Link, it is an add-in to the Microsoft Excel, allowing users to build reports or the Excel-based analysis with the Pi data. Users can import the data from the PyAF or PyText directly onto the Excel sheet, and they can use Excel functionalities to work with that data. In addition, we believe that the data that you have collected is valuable, and we support you to find ways to benefit more from them. We allow our customers to deliver the data to the tools outside of the Pi system. One way is to use Pi Integrator, which is an out-of-the-box tool that users can select, clean, shape, and publish data out to the required destination. The destination can be business analytics application, visualize analytics tools, or the data lake like AWS, Azure, and so on. With this tool, you don't need any programming skill to use it, making it easy for everyone to use. However, for those who prefer to write their own code, they can also access Pi system data by methods such as Web API, SDK, .NET, Framework, SQL, and so on. PySystem creates a common data foundation that scales to an enterprise level. We think of the PySystem as a critical operations data infrastructure. Disparate data sources, multiple control systems, information silos, and non-standard naming data conventions can turn into a single, comprehensible source of information. With this infrastructure approach, you will be on your journey to performance intelligence. And this is because you and everyone in the organization will have the visibility to the data and able to access them by themselves. These data also have the context that everyone can understand, allowing them to spend more time working on the problems rather than trying to find them. With the features such as calculation, event tracking, and notification tools, they turn data into insights. Lastly, the data can be shared securely to someone or systems that you want to share it to. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about PySystem and Sigmafine. PySystem and Sigmafine have been working together since 1999. Sigmafine has been adding values on top of the data from the PySystem by giving our customer the insights around the area of production accounting, quality and composition tracking, and energy balance. Sigmafine has a direct plug-in into PyAF, and it utilizes many great features on the AF as you see here. Sigmafine also has the web application that allow you to easily access the display and analysis result as well. Since we have been partners for a long time, we have many common customers, and a few examples are showing here. For example, Pertamina from Indonesia and Seiko from China. It is no doubt that visibility and accessibility of the data is important for you to achieve performance intelligence, and the data infrastructure ensures that people will have the information that they need to make decisions, no matter where they are, what device they use, or what role they play. PySystem, as a data infrastructure, can provide such ability, and we are here to support your journey to performance intelligence. Now we are at the end of the session. Thank you for spending your time with me. If you have any questions or want to learn more, please contact me via email or visit our website. Thank you again.
Thank you, Natawan, for this presentation. And thank you also for joining us right now live with the whole group here. So it was nice to see the transformation from OSIsoft to now AVEVA and see how this tradition of the PySystem is continuing strongly into the future. So thanks very much for that. Do we have any question, Ryan, for Natawan? Is it possible to create a custom application on top of the PySystem?
Wow. Okay. Of course, yes. PySystem is friendly to all of the application developer out there. And for developer, you can access the data in the PySystem in various ways. So depending on what kind of application you would like to use. So for example, if you would like to build some sort of web application, then we would recommend Py Web API, for example. And of course, there are many other protocols as well. For example, SDK on .NET framework, or the SQL protocol, or even OPC protocol. So yeah, depending on the application that you're trying to do, we would recommend you a proper or more suitable protocol And also we have a developer community. It's called Pi Square, and that place will help you to ask questions, and the people there in the community will be helping you and support you along the way. So whenever you need any help on developing, you can go to the Pi Square.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Other questions? What are the common use cases that Pi system is often used for?
All right. Okay. First of all, I need to address that Pi system can be used for various kind of industries. We have customer in many industry like oil and gas, power, and so on. But at the end of the day, the use cases can be boiled down to just a handful, I would say. The common ones are, for example, to use on the asset health, energy efficiency, process optimization, quality and safety tracking, and of course, compliance as well. However, don't let me stop you from here. So there are a lot of possibility of how you can use Pi system for. And as you can see from the presentation, Pi system basically helps to create a visibility and connect the people to the data. And that means if there's any questions or problems or challenges that a data can help, or basically another word is if you know the situations or condition of the problems, if that can help you, then yes, Pi system can be there and support you on that point.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for your time. I think this is all the question that we have, Ryan, if I'm not mistaken. So we are, okay, we are just 2 minutes or 3 minutes late. So our next slot was going to be at 12:35. So I think, Ryan, if you're ready, we will just roll into the next section. So thank you, Natawan. And some of what you will hear next also ties into the idea of building applications with Pi, because we're going to introduce some of our new partners in Asia Pacific. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye. Yes. So with the pandemic, it's been challenging to travel, as you all know. Therefore, for a company like Pimsoft with an office in the US and an office in Europe, our ability to visit Asia Pacific has been limited. Therefore, we have had to rely more on partners for supporting our Asia Pacific customers. And I would like to take the opportunity of the summit to introduce two partners who have been working with us closely and have invested in developing their Sigmafine skills. The first one is a company called Calibrate, and we've asked David Lim, their CEO, to do a short presentation of their company and to explain how they see Sigmafine in the future of their business.
Hi, I'm David Lim, CEO and co-founder of Calibrate Systems, Inc. I'm just here to share with you what we have been doing and how strategic our partnership is with Sigmafine and Pimsoft. So we are based in Manila, Philippines. We started our operations 2014. We're now 75 employees. We are an OSI Soft Premier partner and also an AVEVA solutions provider. Just a short video to show you on what we have been doing.
Established in 1997, Maynilad is the water and wastewater services provider of the 17 cities and municipalities that comprise the West Zone of the metropolitan Manila area. Since its reprivatization, Maynilad has consistently improved and expanded its water services. As a result, over 9.6 million people in the West Zone from Valenzuela City down to Cavite are now enjoying safe and reliable water supply.
Technology is a very important part of what we do because it's really all about driving cost efficiencies. Well, prior to the transformation, it was really a very traditional and conservative company. Technology was seen more as a cost rather than as a way to drive more efficiencies in the business. And that eventually changed.
The solution improved Manilad's business by giving them an overall look into their entire operations. So if they had 20 to 25 systems before, they have just one monitoring system today, and that's the OSI SoftPi system. The solution deployed follows the pillars of IoT: collect, analyze, and act on it. At the heart of it is a data historian, which is a real-time series database. We also have an advanced analytics engine that we use to churn out valuable insight for proactive maintenance. We also create displays for them to use that follow them on any modern web browser, from desktop, phone, and tablet.
Calibrate, we've been working with them from the very start on our IoT platform. They have the technical experience in order to implement, which can be displayed in the central control room. That allows us to be very flexible and to react very fast to disturbances that occur in our network or changing patterns in terms of consumption of water. For example, if there's an area with low water pressure, they can actually ramp up an alternative facility in order to service that area. So those are the kind of things that have benefited Maynilad.
So, how do we start? Where do we start? Or what to do first? Those are the common questions that I get from our clients. We work with them. Let's get the data first. Reconcile all the data. Let's optimize. Because if we have a complete set of data, then if we can have that reconciliation of data, then we can quickly optimize. And optimization really means quick wins. And for us, everything starts with data. There should be no excuse in getting that data. We connect to whatever we can connect to, like PLCs, sensors, and control systems. We collect data from manual loggers, Excel, Google Sheets. We even convert PDF files directly to Pi Data Archive, SMS and email to Pi Data Archive, and other data sources such as drones and thermal cameras. Because once you put in all that data into the Pi server, Sigmafine can really do its work and its magic, because they have pre-built applications and templates that cuts across all industry verticals. And all this has been from their experience. These are models, these are engineering principles, and these are statistical analysis that can be a prelude to your predictive or advanced analytics. So with this, Sigmafine provides us an end-to-end value and value to our customers, because now we could really see on how we could optimize and save costs. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the webinar. Bye.
Okay. Thank you, David, for this presentation. I would like to let our customer know in the Asia Pacific region that Calibrate is a system integrator, which can be like a one-stop company where you can go from the control systems all the way up to Sigmafine and very advanced data management projects. And they are new to us, and we hope that next year they are bringing their first project to the summit to present to all of us. So thank you, David. Our next partner that we would like to feature is Keymantech. Keymantech is owned by Edward Bao, who is based in China. And Keymantech has been working very hard with us right now in China to try to offset the fact that we can't travel anymore and reaching out to customers and try to continue to develop additional business in China for our company. So Edward is going to present his company and also highlight some of the Sigmafine work that his company has done in China with us.
Hello, everyone. My name is Edward Bao. I'm the CEO of Keymantech Technology. I'm very happy to speak at the Sigmafine virtual conference today. And I'd like to take this chance to introduce you a little bit about our company, as well as a little Sigmafine project we implemented in China. So, Keymantech is based in China. We are our partner with OSIsoft and official partner with Pimsoft. We are a group of enthusiastic engineers with different backgrounds, and we provide enterprise software project consultation, implementation, and services, and we strive to merge IT and OT with Pi system and other software and automation solutions, including Sigmafine. So our scope of services range from Pimsoft consultation to system integration and data collection and training, as well as various other applications. We focus on manufacturing IT solution and system integration, and we provide a range of applications from the basic visualization to reporting, to batch analytics, quality analytics, energy management, yield improvement, and others. And last but not least, we provide big data analytics with machine learning, and we can work on applications like predictive maintenance, yield improvement, and so on. So here's some of our main customers. We focused mainly on pharma and chemicals, and we serve top companies like Roche, WuXi Bio, Novartis, and chemical companies like Wacker, Acma, and more. We're ISO 9001 and 14001 certified, and on top of that, we have a bunch of other software certifications. So why are we focused on chemicals and pharma in China? The reason is very simple. It's that it's a very fast-growing market. If you look at the IoT industry in China, it's about 50% yearly growth, and it will reach 10 trillion by 2025. And if we look at the two sectors separately, the chemical industry is undergoing very fast digital transformation, and is planning the 14th five-year plan in China. The government wants the companies to either upgrade or shut down. And IoT and digital transformation is a key to the upgrade. And if you look at the pharma industry, it's a different approach. In terms of the digital adoption, it's even lower. That means there's even more potential to grow IoT in this market. And a lot of data silos still exist in this in the production. So there's a lot of room for data consolidation and analytics. So with that, I'd like to share a little project we did with Sigmafine, with this company called SP Chemicals. So SP Chemicals, it's a multinational company. It started in 1995, and it produces petrochemicals including nitrobenzene, aniline, ethylene, and styrene monomer. It is one of the largest multi-site producer in China, and it produces more than 320,000 tons of styrene and 185,000 tons of nitrobenzene every year. And the customers, including BASF, Dow, AkzoNobel Chemicals, and more. So we did a little pilot project for them to calculate the material balance and to identify if there's any data errors in their Pi system. So since it's a very big plant, it is very difficult to do everything in one project. So we decided to do a little pilot project for them. Basically, for the pilot project, we wanted to let them understand how Sigmafine works and how it can help them to solve their later complex problems. And we chose to have one facility as the main part of the analytics for this project. So we built one model. The duration is about 3 months, and the model size is 100 elements. So this is a simplified diagram of their process. We worked with the engineers to basically simplify the production process, and we find out what they care about most. So if you look at this diagram, you can see that the inputs are ethylene, chlorine, and oxygen. And the main outputs are vinyl chloride and dichloroethane. So eventually, we define the pilot project scope, which is material balance within 100 element with boundary inputs, boundary outputs, and the boundary tags. So after working with the engineers, we came up with a simplified Sigmafine model. It has 20 inputs, 10 outputs, 17 storage tanks, and some wastes. And the data source actually came from not only the PI system, but also strapping table and their financial data. So the results of the pilot project is quite promising. During the two phases, the first phase is that we found we have the gross error detection. We found the initial imbalance of about 25%, and we actually checked and modified the model. And during the second phase, we found that there's some of their data that are incorrect. The quality of the data needs to be improved. So they actually go back and change their meter, which actually helped us to finally have the imbalance within the 8% acceptance range. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your listening. And if you have any questions, and here's my contact. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Edward. Thank you for supporting us in this project in China. And we look forward to the next phase with this customer, obviously. At this point, we are ready to go into the last presentation of the day, which is a presentation by Pimsoft. You probably have heard the word Sigmafine Hub 100 times today in the last 4 hours. So the obvious question is, what do I have to do if I want Sigmafine Hub installed with my Sigmafine server? So that next presentation is the goal of this next presentation is to answer those questions for you. So I would like to invite Carolina Testa. Carolina is also in Italy, so she got up early and to be with us, and she will be answering your questions at the end of the presentation. So let's go through the presentation first, and then we can have a question and answer session about this topic.
Hello everyone, I am Carolina Testa, Sigmafine Product Specialist at Pimsoft. Today I will talk about getting started with Sigmafine Hub. This presentation is for those who are interested in Sigmafine Hub and need to know how to proceed in order to get it. Getting started with Sigmafine Hub does not mean to revolutionize your system, it means to improve it instead. Your current Sigmafine models and analysis will be preserved, and the current display will be maintained, even if they need conversion. Also, the configuration that have been implemented in your Sigmafine server will be maintained. It adapts to the current Sigmafine server installation for the Sigmafine version that are supported. Say that you can define the best onboarding plan for your organization, including installation and training. Here are the sequence of actions that getting started with Sigmafine Hub requires. First, define installation scenario. In other words, define the architecture of the new Sigmafine Hub system. Second, update Sigmafine system as needed. According to the system requirements, it may be necessary to upgrade the Sigmafine server version. 3. Install Sigmafine Hub. Optional remote installation package is available for this step. 4. Sigmafine display conversion. Free online display conversion service is available to all Sigmafine Hub customers. 5. Quick start orientation. An optional remote installation package by Pimsoft is available also for this step. Let's see all the steps more in detail, starting from the definition of the installation scenario. As we said, the architecture of the new Sigmafine Hub system must be defined, since it may affect the installation process. Installation is easier, for example, if Sigmafine Hub has a dedicated server and a local SQL server. So in other cases, the installation can require some additional checks and actions. Update Sigmafine system. If the Sigmafine server version is older than 4.6.8, a Sigmafine upgrade is necessary before jumping to the next step of the installation. If the Sigmafine server doesn't need an upgrade or it has been already done, the installation can take place. It means having Sigmafine Hub installed and connected to the Sigmafine server with client connection ready to be used. The Sigmafine Hub installation is much easier than the installation that we are used to see for Sigmafine components, and if the requirements are met, it can be performed by users that are not professional IT. In order to describe the Sigmafine Hub installation process, we divide it into a sequence of 4 phases: the planning, the installation, the configuration of the parameters, and the commission of Sigmafine Hub, testing and verifying the final system. In the plan phase, a pre-installation assessment will be made, and the system must be prepared for the next step. During the install and configure phase, the installation itself will be performed, together with the settings of the connection parameters. Depending on the case, the installation phase can be performed entirely by the customer under Pimsoft guidance, or completely by Pimsoft with the customer IT support, or partially by Pimsoft and partially by the customer IT. In the last phase of commission, the whole system will be tested, including the display conversion. The plan phase includes a review of the pre-installation checklist that can be performed by Pimsoft together with the IT team. We will check that all the system requirements are met. And finally, the Sigmafine server version needs to be verified, since some version needs a patch to support Sigmafine Hub. Once all these points are confirmed, we can move to the next phase. The system requirements for Sigmafine Hub are the following. Microsoft SQL Server must be version 2008 R2 or higher. Microsoft.NET version 4.8. OSIsoft AF Client version 2.9.5. Regarding the browser, both Microsoft Edge and Chrome are okay for Sigmafine Hub. As you can see, all these components can be easily installed by the customer IT. When all the prerequisites are checked and the required third-party software had been installed, the customer should download the Sigmafine Hub installation kit from the Sigmafine support site. At this point, we can proceed with the Sigmafine Hub installation. When the Sigmafine Hub is installed, it needs to be configured and connected to the target Sigmafine server, and if present, to the Sigmafine test server as well. Then one user is configured to access and operate on Sigmafine Hub. Obviously, only authorities account have access to the Sigmafine Hub and to the many services that it supports. The next step is the registration of the Sigmafine server. This is an important step that is performed only once and links the Sigmafine Hub to its license. Then, if required, the patch needs to be installed in the Sigmafine server. Finally, the new system can be tested in order to guarantee all the functionalities, and the last phase of commission can take place. In this step is completed when the Sigmafine Hub application server and the application server are connected, and user can connect to the Sigmafine server via Sigmafine Hub. When Sigmafine Hub is successfully installed, we can skip to the display conversion step. The PyProcessBook displays that were used to work with in Sigmafine can be used anymore in Sigmafine Hub. In order to visualize the Sigmafine model in the Sigmafine Hub visualization tool, the Sigmafine Hub Visualizer, the PyProcessBook display must be converted in a Sigmafine Hub-friendly format. This conversion process is very simple and includes only a few steps. Here is a short recap of the display conversion process. The PDI files need to be loaded into the Sigmafine Hub site, where they will be converted. When the conversion will be over, a message will be sent to the user that will be able to download the converted file and load it in the new Sigmafine Hub server of his company. After that, the user will be ready to work with it. Once the displays have been converted and available in Sigmafine Hub, the only missing step is the onboarding of the user. Here, some of the key actions that the user can do with Sigmafine Hub. First, create and manage job user using the Sigmafine Hub admin web app. Then, register on the Sigmafine support site. As we said, only users with permission will be able to access Sigmafine Hub and work with models. They can explore the resources of the Sigmafine support site. They can convert the Sigmafine displays, and after the conversion, the displays can be imported in the new Sigmafine Hub system and used to run the Sigmafine models. All the basic Sigmafine operation, collect element, collect transfer, collect input, run, and publish, will be performed during the visualizer. All the new features of the Sigmafine visualizer will be available, as well as the functionalities and the tricks that can improve the user experience and save time during the balance analysis. The Sigmafine Hub installation service package allows you to get Sigmafine Hub completely installed by Pimsoft remotely. Even if Sigmafine Hub installation can be easily performed by the customer, you may need to speed up the process. The installation package includes all the installation steps, from the pre-installation assessment to the test of the client connections. Depending on the case, the installation phase can be performed completely by Pimsoft with the customer IT support, or partially by Pimsoft and partially by the customer IT, depending on the permissions that are given to Pimsoft. Here are the requirements that need to be met for this service. The IT staff of the customer, who is the owner of the system, must be available to support Pimsoft during the process. The service will be performed remotely. That's why Pimsoft will need to access the Sigmafine Hub server remotely in a secure way. In some cases, depending on the Sigmafine version, a patch is required. So, in that case, Pimsoft will need remote access to the Sigmafine server too. Required network ports must be open for Sigmafine Hub prior to the installation, and one of Sigmafine displays must be available for conversion test purposes. Finally, in order to ask for this service, the customer must have an active software maintenance program. The installation service is estimated to take about 8 hours. The installation activity from scratch can take a few hours, but the overall elapsed time may be longer since it depends on the fulfillment of the system requirements and the completion of the pre-installation checks. After the Sigmafine Hub is installed, the easiest way to get started with the new system is with the Sigmafine Hub Quick Start service. Once Sigmafine Hub is successfully installed on your system, this standard service package will introduce the user to the new Sigmafine Hub. It is an 8-hour remote orientation training divided into 4 sessions, 2 hours each. All the users must be already familiar with Sigmafine, since this is not a Sigmafine user training. This course will show the new graphic interface of Sigmafine visualizers and the new features. The concepts of Sigmafine, however, are unchanged, so the user will not take too long to understand how to use Sigmafine Hub. With the Quick Start service package, Pimsoft will introduce you to the new display conversion service. An account for the display conversion must be registered and activated. Pimsoft will assist you during the conversion of one single display to show you the process. Finally, the converted display will be loaded into the Sigmafine Hub and will be ready to be used. Now we see the prerequisite to get the Quick Start service. Since this training is provided remotely, a secure remote access must be granted through dedicated VPN or equivalent to the Sigmafine Hub and Sigmafine server. Then, at least one display must be available in order to test the conversion, one display for each participant, and the selected display must be correctly synchronized with the Sigmafine model. External internet access must be allowed too for the display conversion service. Finally, the customer should have an active software maintenance program in order to be able to get this service, and the participant should already know the basic of Sigmafine, as we said before. This service, however, comes with some conditions. First, this service package is delivered remotely and requires remote access to the Sigmafine Hub application server and Sigmafine server. Then, the maximum number of participants is 4. A pre-orientation checklist will be sent and reviewed with the customer to confirm that all the prerequisites are met before proceeding with the orientation session. The orientation session may be recorded by the customer and used for retraining purposes inside the organization only. The Sigmafine Hub Quick Start is an 8-hour training divided into 4 sessions of 2 hours. In this case, the overall duration of the service will depend just on the customer availability and whether the planned will be planned only 1 session per week or 2. Now, if you have any question, let me know.
Thank you, Carolina, for this presentation. Good morning.
Good
Thank
morning.
you for joining us. Yes. Thank you for this presentation. I guess you presented an approach which should make it very easy for customers to adopt Sigmafine Hub in no time. So thank you for that. Do we have any questions from the participants for Carolina? Oh yeah, okay. Can you also perform the services on site?
Yes, of course, depending on the conditions and also on the COVID-19 situation, it can be planned also an intervention on site.
Okay, very good. Other questions, Ryan? Why should the customer ask for a standard service package for this kind of work?
Well, these standard service packages had been studied and developed to speed up the process. So it would make much easier for the customer to have a Sigmafine Hub installed with the installation service package, because the customer would not have to worry about the installation and all the work that is around it. And for the quick start, the service package is a standard training, so it is meant for onboarding the users for the use of Sigmafine Hub in the best and fastest way. So they've been created to speed up the process, and that's why they could be very useful for the customers.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Other questions, Ryan? What if I have more model displays to convert? Yes, that's a good question.
Yes, if you have more displays to convert, you can easily do it because the online display conversion service is free and available for all the Sigmafine Hub customers. So during the installation, this service is activated and tested. During the onboarding with the Quick Start service package, 4 displays are converted, and the user can understand how and learn how to do the conversion. So starting from that moment, the user just have to create their own account and log into this online service to convert all the displays that they need.
Thank you. Any other questions, Ryan? No? Okay. One more thing about displays. If I have a problem with converting a display, what happens? Let's say I use the service and then I run into any issues.
Yeah, the software maintenance program is active because it is required access to this service, so it will help you in with
So
any
it will be
issues.
support will take care of
Yes, of
issue.
course.
Okay, under the SMP. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you,
Welcome.
Carolina. Thank you for making the time for us. Now you can go have a cup of coffee.
It's been a pleasure.
Take care. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, everyone. So we are coming to the end. We made it all in one piece. We thank you for your attention. We thank all of our customer and partner speakers who are the ones who are really invested time in preparing for this event. This event would not be possible without their participation. So if you, I guess, if you are not already using Sigmafine Hub, we hope that today we were able to convince you that that's sounds like a good investment to make, and it's the foundation of the next generation Sigmafine. So we encourage you to contact your salesperson or your our technical support to inquire about what's involved in understanding licensing, pricing, and also, as you saw from the presentation from Carolina, the steps required for the installation. It's a very easy process. It's not a big project, and it certainly will make a step change in your ability to work with Sigmafine immediately, and a much bigger change later on when Studio and all these other web apps are being released. So one last word, presentations and recordings will all be available shortly after the summit. We have 2 more days to go in the Americas and in EMEA. So after we're all done with all the presentations, all the recordings and the PowerPoints will be available through the same website that you registered to stream the event, and yet you registered for the event as well, which is sigmafine.live, www.sigmafine.live. And we invite you to come back, share with your colleagues, and as well, everyone who registered and participated today is welcome to attend any of the sessions in the next 2 days as well, if you can fit that into your schedule, which probably will be outside your work hours. So again, thank you very much for being with us, and hopefully we hear from you soon. Thank you.
An OSIsoft partner for 25 plus years, with a track record of hundreds of Pi system implementations, Pimsoft is a premier partner of OSIsoft, with a team of OSIsoft certified professionals located in offices in Europe and America. Pimsoft and its Omicron development affiliate are registered system integrator, value-added reseller, and OEM partner in the OSIsoft partner ecosphere. Our capabilities range from technical services, consulting, and application support services to turnkey solutions based on the Pi system. Our core competency is data validation, reconciliation, and conditioning for the process industries based on the Sigmafine suite of products, including our most recent addition, Sigmafine Hub. We think of Sigmafine Hub as the first and only digital asset factory for the process industries, closing the last mile between data and actionable insights in a digital manufacturing environment. Using the OSIsoft Pi system and best-of-breed applications, we can deliver solutions addressing the needs of all process industries, including production accounting, material and quality tracking, loss management, and energy balance, as well as content management and asset performance for anything related to the Pi system. Delivering innovative solutions for the process industries has been our motto since the company's foundation in 1994. If you would rather hear from the voice of our customers, attend our annual summit in November later this year, or check out presentations from previous years. We thank you for your attention and hope to hear from you soon.